welcome back to the Cupcake Jemma channel with me, Sally.
And me, Cupcake Jemma.
Oh yeah, she is back, guys.
Oh, it's really weird picking things. I've not done this before. I am back for today to join Sally with this recipe before we get stuck in to what is obviously going to be a very exciting recipe. I was gesturing to you, but also the background, which is Christmassy. I just want to say a massive, massive thank you to every one of you who's been supporting not just the channel by watching videos and watching Sally and Dane do their thing, but also anyone who's bought cupcake kits, cookie kits, fresh cookies, or anyone who's visited the shop while we've been open. Obviously, we're about to, or we will, when you see this, we will have embarked on another lockdown, which is a bit of a bummer. But we've got lots of stuff to keep you going.
Yes, we've got loads of exciting stuff coming your way, so do stay tuned.
Yes. But yeah, big massive thank you to all of you, and keep on watching, keep on doing your thing. We love you so much and we are very grateful.
We are indeed, which brings us into this week's video, which is, as Gemma hinted to, is Christmassy. We have a few baubles.
We did have a few baubles, but one by one they're just dropping off.
Classic me. It's not too Christmassy though, because we're not quite at Christmas, are we?
We're a bit ahead of ourselves, but that's the point of this recipe.
It is, because we are going to make a Christmas cake. Essentially, it is a fruit cake, you know, and it's packed full of all this amazing fruit. We've got nuts, we've got cherries, we've got loads and loads of ingredients here, and I think that is one of the things that maybe people get a little bit scared of making, because you have to buy all of this stuff. And it's a lot of stuff, isn't it?
It is a lot of stuff, and you always end up getting with leftovers and leftover bags of currants, and you're like, what on earth am I going to do with like 700 grams of currants?
So guys, if you want to make yourself a fruit cake, but you don't want to go out and buy all this stuff, guess what you can do?
Ta-da-ta-da! You're wondering what this box was, weren't you?
We have got this brand new cake kit, which will be on the Cupcake Jemma website. It is the first of many of our Christmas kits coming out, and I'll just give you a.
Love how that. Just,
I know.
That was totally planned.
It was totally planned. And we've got everything in here, including a cake tin. We've got all the fruits, all the nuts, everything except the fresh ingredients as usual. So the butter and the eggs, and everything you need to make this delicious fruit cake.
Yes.
I'm just going to try and put it away, get it off our table.
Excuse me.
So we can crack on. So we are making this now because it's quite important, isn't it?
Yes, so traditionally with Christmas cake, you want to start preparing your Christmas cake a few weeks, and some people even do it a few months in advance. I know people that started this whole process like August time.
Yeah, mad.
Whatever floats your boat. You can do it a little bit nearer the time if you want, but this is quite a good, about a month ahead is quite a nice amount of time.
Yeah, it's perfect, because what you want to do is you want to bake it in advance so that we can feed the cake.
Feed the cake, you say? What on earth does that mean, Sally?
I know, we all need feeding, and cakes deserve feeding as well.
Yes.
So what we do is we make this cake, and it's very, very dense. It's packed full of all this stuff, so it's not got loads of air and stuff like a regular kind of sponge cake. So what we need to do is get it really nice and moist, and we do that by feeding it, preferably with some lovely booze like Brandy. Is perfect for this.
Brandy.
Isn't it?
What else could you use?
But obviously, if you don't want to use alcohol, that's totally fine. You can do this with some orange juice, a little bit of lemon juice in there too if you wanted to. But we just want to get it nice and oozy and gooey inside before we eat it.
Yes, but if you are using juice and not alcohol, I would recommend preparing this cake a little bit closer to Christmas, just because obviously without the alcohol to keep it stable, it might kind of go a little bit funky.
Yes, indeed. So that's kind of the first thing that we're going to do now. So as well as feeding it, we also want to get all of our currants nice and juicy, because we've got loads of currants here.
There's a lot of
There's a lot of fruit here. So we've got in total 800 grams. Now our preferred kind of ratio, but you can do whatever you want here. We've got 350 grams of actual currants, which are these nice little ones here. And then we've got some sultanas, which is my personal favourite. They're a little bit bigger and juicier. And then we've got raisins, of course, and we've got 225 grams of each of those two. And as you can see, I mean, they're dried fruits, right? They are
dried fruits.
Dried and shriveled up. So we just want to introduce a bit of moisture to them. And we're going to do that again with some booze.
Well,
so
shall I get going?
You get going and pouring them into here. And so we're going to use 100 mils of booze, or again, orange juice will also be fine. Smells good, huh?
Oh, it smells like Christmas now.
Not that Christmas is all about booze, but you know, it certainly helps.
A little
right,
bit.
so Gemma's going to stir those together, and then ideally what you want to do with this is, leave it for a couple of days, and that's just going to make these currants and these sultanas and raisins nice and kind of juicy before we get baking with them. So luckily, I prepared some a few days ago, et voila, and you'll see that all the juice is gone. There's no kind of liquid at the bottom there.
Ooh, plump.
Yeah, they're lovely and plump. You can see the currants are a little bit kind of bigger than they were when we began with, and it smells great. So let's get making this cake, shall we?
Hell yeah.
Okay, so this begins where pretty much all cakes begin, and that is with some butter and some sugar, and we need to get beating. So we have got equal quantities of really lovely soft butter, unsalted as usual, and this time we've got dark brown sugar, and that is pretty important here because this is like full of molasses, it's full of that delicious treacliness, and it is going to go so well in this Christmas cake. And now what we need to do is beat those together, so get mixing for about 5 minutes. What way do you naturally spin? I think
it's clockwise, but
I think I go anti-clockwise. But can you do your arms like the opposite way to your body?
Well, I don't even know what that means.
Okay, body goes clockwise, arms go... No, I can't!
Yes.
Yeah. She's got the move.
I think that's had enough. What do you think?
Yeah, that looks pretty good to me. Look at the colour of it. You can see how the sugar has started to dissolve, but you can still see there's some grains in there, but that is absolutely fine, which means we can go in with our eggs. So I'm just going to move this fruit away. So we've got 4 eggs in total, and we're going to, as usual, add them one at a time, beating very well in between each addition.
All right.
So get cracking.
I'm going to get cracking, but I don't have your cracking skills, I'm afraid.
Well, you know, not many people do.
No, well, I just haven't put the work in practicing.
Yeah, you need to get practicing. What else have you been up to? I mean, like...
Well, do you mean while I haven't been practicing and cracking my eggs? I mean, I've been doing some pretty important stuff, guys. Yes, I had a baby.
Hey.
Most of you will know that. Because I haven't been around for some time, and that's because I've been having a baby and learning how to keep a human alive.
And succeeding. Congratulations.
Yes,
She's done a great job.
7 months of aliveness. Yes, her name is Eden, and she's an absolute delight.
She is. I can vouch for that. She's so cute. She's very happy.
She smiles all the time, all the time.
Very sweet.
She's just so ridiculous, and now she's like figuring out how to crawl. She's definitely going to be an early crawler. She's just all over the place. So I've been putting my eggs in fairly slowly and beating in between. Yes. And it might look a little bit curdled. I'm actually going to stop it and scrape it just to kind of get the sides of the mixture into the mix, because it sometimes doesn't quite gather it up in this machine.
Especially if you're using these stand mixers, but also if you're using an electric hand whisk, you do need to sort of give the whole bowl a bit of a scrape to make sure it is all getting incorporated.
Speaking of stand mixers, this is the first time I have seen my actual very own mixer with my own name on it since I was pregnant, and since we did the What Stand Mixer Do You Buy video, which if you haven't seen, go and check that out. So yeah, I've been seeing you using it an awful lot.
I know, it's a lovely mixer.
Rude.
Thank you for letting me use it.
It's okay.
You don't really have a choice. I just used it. But you know, Christmas is coming, and if you do loads of baking, put it on your list, you know.
Hell yeah.
And they're not all super expensive. If you watch that video, you'll see actually we did a test with 3 completely different ones, and they were all really, really great, different prices and stuff. So yeah, highly recommend it.
Are you going to give me my mixer for Christmas?
Yeah, I mean, it's a cheap present. I've already got it.
I'll happily accept. Happily.
Easy. Okay, so that is looking pretty good. And like Jemma said, don't worry if it's looking a little bit split, because now we are going to go in with our dry ingredients. So in here...
Turning it right down.
Turn it down, yeah. We've got 225 grams of plain flour, and then into that I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of mixed spice. And if you give those a little wiggle together...
Wiggling?
Yep, shuffle them around, and then we're going to add that into the mixer, and we're going to keep the mixer on a low speed from here on out. And once that has mixed through, you can leave the mixer on and we're going to start adding our fruit. So starting with our 800 grams of soaked, delicious dried fruit.
It's so hard not to just eat this because it smells so nice.
Persevere, it'll be nice, I promise. Okay.
Right, we are already so packed with fruit.
I know.
Obviously, it's a fruitcake, but it almost seems absurd right now that there's so much fruit in there. And there's more coming.
There is more coming. We've got 4 more ingredients here. We have got 75 grams of both mixed peel, which is here, and also glacé cherries, which are probably the most Christmassy thing.
Just going to whack these in.
Yeah, no, go for it. Add them all.
Great.
Yeah, glacé cherries are absolutely delicious, and these ones, they're pretty ace. So these
If
are
you
the ones you're gonna
can
get.
find the darker ones rather than the kind of lurid fluorescent red ones, they do have a lot more flavour.
Yeah, they do. The red ones just kind of taste like sweetness, which
Sticky.
it's not that much of a problem. Okay, so finally then we've got nuts, obviously. Most fruitcakes also have nuts in them.
Yes, but you could always just have extra fruit.
Yeah, totally.
There's nothing wrong with that, but it adds a bit of texture, which is nice.
Yeah, totally. And you can kind of use whatever nuts you want as well.
So we're using hazelnut and almonds here. They've been blanched and skinned. You could do it yourself, but it does take a little while. But you could use other nuts. You could use macadamia.
I think pecans
would be really nice.
Would be
Jinx.
really nice.
Oh my goodness, Jinx.
Yeah, totally. So we want 50 grams of both of those. So you want 100 grams of nuts in total. So now we're just going to mix that through and we are done.
I can barely believe this mix is going to get through it, but
oh, well, I hope it does.
No, it's going to be fine, as we've tested in our video. Okay, this is all incorporated nicely now, all the fruits and nuts.
That looks amazing.
Oh my goodness, it's packed. There's almost more fruit than cake.
Well, that's kind of what it is, to be honest. It is mainly fruit held together with a tiny bit of cake.
That's some booze.
And now we just need to prepare this for the oven. So we need to line a tin. So this recipe we're giving you is for an 8-inch round tin, which is the tin that you'll get if you buy the kit. You will get this exact tin. It is a very high quality tin. It's the kind of things we use here in the bakery. And in the kit, we've also included loads of bits of greaseproof paper that we can line it with. So the first thing we need to do is line the inside as usual. So just spread it with a bit of butter or some oil, or if you have some fancy cake spray, a little bit of cake spray.
It's not that fancy.
Is it not?
No.
Oh, I always thought I was fancy.
Well, all right, whatever. Whatever story you want to tell yourself.
And then I've cut my first piece, I just put it on the greaseproof, drew a circle around it, and there we've got the inside lined like so, et voila. And then for the sides, you just want to cut 2 strips that fit nicely inside. We want a little bit kind of sticking up the edge as well.
Oh yeah, you don't want this guy to stick.
You do not want this guy to stick. It'll be incredibly hard to get out of the tin if he does stick. If you fill up this bad boy, whilst I sort of explain a little bit about the whole baking technique, because, I mean, it's not a technique, we're going to put it in the oven, but...
That sounds so complicated.
I know. You can see just how compact and kind of heavy this cake is, okay? So this is going to take an incredibly long time to cook. It's going to take 3 to 3.5 hours to cook.
Jeez Louise, that is a long time.
Jeez Louise, indeed. So that means we're going to need the oven temperature to be low. So we're going to bake it at 120 degrees C, which is fan assisted.
A little bit of this?
Yeah, a little bit of that. If you've not got a fan in your oven, you want to go to 140, and it's going to go in for 3.5 hours. So what we also want to do is kind of protect the outside of this, because we don't want the outside to bake too much and the inside to be too gooey. We want it to be as even as possible. So we're going to get some extra greaseproof paper, or if you're not using the kit, you can do this with newspaper as well. Obviously, don't put newspaper on the inside of your cake.
Oh, don't put that on the inside.
Just around the outside. So I've folded the greaseproof in half like this, so we've kind of got a double layer. So if you think about it, the cake is pretty protected now. So I'm going to wrap 2 bits around.
Hang on, I might need to socially distantly help you.
Yeah, I think I might need some help. Yeah, like so. And then we've got some string here, which I'm going to wrap around like this. Yep. And tie a bow at the front.
Nice.
Got it, I got it. And now it is ready for the oven. And as you saw, Gemma sort of leveled it out as well, because this isn't like a normal cake where it's going to evenly spread and rise.
It doesn't.
No, we just want to get it looking all shipshape before we put it in the oven.
Should I pop this in the oven
That is it, yeah. So 3 to 3.5 hours when it's done,
really heavy.
isn't it?
Yeah.
You want to do the old skewer test. Put the skewer in the middle if it comes out clean, if it's done. If it's a little bit gooey, you want to go another 5-10 minutes at a time until it does come out clean.
Precisely.
So, see you on the other side.
Exactly. All right. Off you go.
Oh, she's back.
Ta-da!
So,
baked.
he has baked. It took just over 3 hours for this one to bake. We've let it cool down and we've turned it out of the tin. And now it is time to give it its first feed. So what you need to do is grab yourself a skewer.
So you want to poke quite a few holes in it, and you want to go all the way to the bottom as well. But you only need to do that this time on the first feed. You don't need to do it every single time.
Yep.
I've poked it enough now.
It's got quite a lot of holes in it. And so the reason we put the holes in is so when we put our booze or our orange juice on, whichever you choose to do, it means that it's going to soak all the way through the sponge, not just sort of sitting on top of it. So that is the first feed. And now we just need to store it.
With storing, you just want to wrap it in greaseproof paper really well, and then also give it a wrapping up in some tin foil just to keep it as airtight as possible. And I would recommend, and I'm sure you would agree, that every time you feed it, which is going to be what, like every 4 to 6 days, if you do it from a month in advance.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you don't do it a month in advance, if you're doing it a little bit closer to Christmas, that's totally okay. You're going to end up with an amazing fruitcake. You might want to feed it more frequently, perhaps.
Yeah, even if you just did it like a week before Christmas, that is fine.
Yeah.
You'd maybe want to feed it every 1 to 2 days just to get a little bit of moisture in there. Yeah.
But every time you feed it, turn it upside down first, because that way it has a really good opportunity to be an even soak.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is it, guys. I know it doesn't look that exciting right now.
But in the kit, and even if you don't have the kit, we're going to show you in a couple of weeks, a few weeks, how to decorate this using marzipan.
Yeah, we're going to make our own marzipan as well, because it's really, really easy.
Yeah.
And I personally think it tastes a lot nicer, like most things, if you make it yourself.
I love marzipan.
And we're going to cover it in royal icing as well.
And I'm going to try and be with you guys for that. Obviously, lockdown permitting. Right this minute, we haven't gone into lockdown yet. That's happening in 2 days, but obviously when you watch it, we'll be locked.
We are locked
down. But obviously I don't live in London, so it's a bit more difficult for me to come here. So I will hopefully be here to do marzipaning.
Oh, I hope so.
But if not, you've got the capable hands of Sally and maybe even Dane.
Yes, we will hopefully be getting Dane back to do some more recipes, because he was here a couple of weeks ago and you guys loved it, and he loves it too. Yeah, totally. And that is it. So please do head over to cupcakejemma.com to grab yourselves one of our limited edition Christmas cake kits, and there's a little example of it here. Like, look at all the cute little decorations you get as well, and the sprinkles, absolutely everything included here, as well as our, oh no, this is all Christmas kits behind me, but our full range of bake-at-home kits, and there'll be some new Christmas ones coming out in about a week or so.
And merch, so you know, if you're looking for other Christmas presents.
I don't have it on.
You're like, oh, really boring white apron. We don't sell those. We only sell really exciting Cupcake Jemma aprons. But that's it from us.
Yes.
If you want to keep a track of us, Sally Dells is on Instagram.
I am
doing
indeed.
a thing.
Yep.
And if you want to stalk me, please don't. But if you are interested in what I'm up to, over at my new home in Hove in the southeast of England, and see what I'm up to with my baby, then go and follow me at Mini Cupcake Diaries.
Yay, and of course at Cupcake Jemma and at Crumbs and Doilies as well for all your cakey needs. And we'll be back ever so soon with some more Christmassy stuff for you guys, and hopefully with Gemma as well. So thank you for coming all this way to film the Christmas cake. I'm sorry that you can't eat it.
I know, it's actually the worst thing ever. Like, normally I get to have at least a mouthful of something.
Do you know what? I'm pretty sure there's some cookies around here somewhere.
I mean, there better be. That's what we do.
I know. Why did you even come?
I don't know.
All right. Well, socially distant high five. We'll see you guys soon.
So awkward.
Bye.